Hi, I must not have enough viewers or enough subscribers or something. So I'm back to my phone, but I drop it in on my channel. Okay, so this is late today. This is live at 3:50. So on my channel, there's two things to say about the podcast. I mean the going live. And the first part is the Bipolar Masquerade. And the second part is being angry at your disorder. There's a checklist, and I think that's all I'm going to do because to get to Marcy's story, I might need a whole episode for Marcy's story. Okay. I'm going to sneak over here and have something to drink that you didn't see, but you can see this. I'm so funny, I crack myself up. Bipolar is a different kind of animal. Almost 2/3 of the bipolar experience can masquerade as something other than bipolar illness. The hypomanic aspects can sneak up on you with such stealth that you don't even recognize their presence. They just feel like they're part of you, maybe even a new and improved you. So why would you think anything was wrong? If you're bipolar and you may have extended periods of time when your mood is stable, this stability can be the result of your medication, doing what you're supposed to do, or it may be that you're fortunate enough to be in a quiet and stable phase, unmedicated and feeling normal. If that's the case, wouldn't you normally say, things are good and I'm feeling fine? Of course you would. And if your own denial about your disorder is kicking in, it's so much easier to be in the present than to be focused on your broader behavioral patterns. Wouldn't the depressive side of being bipolar pull you out of denial? Maybe, but not necessarily. It's true that depression feels awful, but you can always blame your depression on the bad things that happen to you. When things go wrong and you feel bad, and if you experience a series of negative events, it makes you sense that you'd feel bad for a while. Therefore, it's easy to see depression as a normal reaction to life rather than attributing it to the bipolar disorder. What makes it easier for depression and denial to interact together in that with more acute phases of depression, a person's thinking actually becomes dulled. It's like 20 points are knocked off your IQ. So your ability to be sharp and clear about what's going on becomes impaired. You feel awful. You not necessarily thinking clearly about your varying mood swings. When you're down, you're down. When you're up, you're scheduled by the pleasure. When you're stable, you're relieved that you're not unstable. And at any point on this continuum, you probably don't want to see the whole picture because it's painful and a difficult one to see. So, just to reiterate, you got hypomania. You have times of stability. You have irritability that can come with depression or with mania. So, I'm not giving you 4 types of bipolar. I'm just giving you like what could be in your whole diagnosis. Bipolar 1, bipolar 2. So you have depression. Bipolar 1, you have full mania. Irritable. Stable. All right. So hypomanic, you're a little bit up, but not as high as the mania. You have times of stability, you have times to be depressed, and you have irritability and I don't know if I said stability, but anyway, those are the things you have to deal. So say you're in the middle of a stability section. Maybe I'm not bipolar. Maybe I'll never have it again. If a professional psychiatrist or psychologist or both have said you're bipolar, you're most likely 100% bipolar. If you don't have a big mania, then they're probably going to say you're bipolar too. Once a big mania comes along, which might not happen the first time, then they're going to change it to bipolar 1. Okay? You can't say everything's the same for everybody bipolar 1 or everybody that's bipolar 2. Everybody has their own bipolar story. But you have to look at the big picture, you know. You're in the middle of stability and you're like, well, I don't need meds. I don't need to go to a counselor. I don't need to go to a psychiatrist. I'm good. But then something's going to sneak up on you, either depression or hypomania, and you're not going to be ready for it because you have nobody to see. You canceled that out. Like the gentleman the other day whose name escapes me right now. You have, like, if you have a period where I don't want to take medicine, I don't want to see docs, but it happens again, you need to give them the information that they don't have from the psychiatrist before. Maybe they don't need to call each other, but you need to tell them, you need to tell this new doc, this is what happened, this is the medication I was on, this is how often I was seeing the doctor. You need to be, even in regular health, you need to be an advocate for yourself. You can have your safety net, but if your safety net aren't all living with you, then they might not see the not so big changes, but you still need that safety net. And what I have said is 5. I don't know what a psychiatrist would say. I don't know what a counselor would say. Spouse or partner, best friend or not, other relatives, siblings, other friends that you wouldn't call best friends. You need them. And as you go on living, you're going to realize that. And my telling you now may not make you think it, but if you've watched me and you're hearing me say that now, then maybe you'll start stocking up on people that can be your support group. Okay. Where was I? When you're... I think I did that. Denial is an important aspect of bipolar illness. It may very well affect you, but you don't know it, at least not if it works. Because when it works, seeing yourself objectively becomes really difficult. That usually requires help from friends, family, loved ones, and probably from mental health professionals. In Chapter 5, we will address how to take advantage of these resources and accompanying strategies. The important piece here is that you get out of denial. You will probably need help from others. Trying to go it alone with bipolar disorder isn't a very successful strategy. Anger and helplessness, the precursors of depression. Being bipolar carries with it certain emotions that are common, especially for people in the early phases of dealing with the illness. Anger and helplessness are 2 of the big ones. We don't mean that you becoming angry with others is common, although if your relationships with others involve some strong conflicts, then anger at them may be one byproduct. We're talking more about the experience of feeling angry at your disorder. After all, it's there, it's been diagnosed, but you can't argue with it. You can hit it, you can throw it away, you can engage it in battle and conquer it. Basically, you feel like this thing has occupied your mind and you're stuck with it. Though you can try to manage the effects of this disorder, you can't really make it go away. So you feel both anger and helplessness. Unless you can accept these feelings and learn how to handle them, you're likely to feel tripped up whenever they're present. Let's separate how these two sets of emotions focus first upon the anger. So the second part of what I put on my channel was being angry at your disorder. I'll either just do a paragraph or I'd like to do another checklist because I think that's really helpful. Think back to when you first learned you were bipolar or when you first suspected you might be. You may have had the quiet, common reaction of rejection or disbelief. This must be some mistake. If those reactions go on for a while, then you become caught up in denial and resistance that we discussed in the previous section. But if you seek out professional help, then you're going to hear a lot of things about managing your disorder. Some of what you hear will give you hope that living with bipolar holds many possibilities for a life of satisfaction and fulfillment. However, there will be other professional advice that isn't all that exciting or pleasurable. A partial list would look like this. So here's the list. I still could finish without going to 20 minutes. You didn't see me have. I haven't eaten all day. But after this, I'm going to have a 4-cheese pizza. Okay. So, this is your list. Let's say again what it was for. What's it a partial list of? Okay, some of it's satisfaction and fulfillment. Others, advice is not that exciting or pleasurable. The list looks like this. 1. The medication may have side effects such as drowsiness, upset stomach, dry mouth, headache, dizziness, a sense of being emotionally or cognitively dull, decreased sexual desire, and difficulties having orgasm. Number 2, assuming your psychiatrist prescribes medication that's a good fit for you, but you stop using it, you increase the likelihood of a relapse. That is another bipolar episode. 3, depending upon what medication you're prescribed, you may need to have your blood drawn and tested regularly. 5, you need to refrain from the use of psychoactive substances such as alcohol or pot. 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be 6. I'm losing count. I'll just read them. You'll benefit from attending psychotherapy sessions on a regular basis. You probably shouldn't travel in regions of the world where you don't have easy access to psychiatric services. This means that about 3/4 of the world is off limits to you. Even if you do all of the above, you are not guaranteed continued stability. Bipolar disorder does have its genetic basis, and you face increased odds that your children or grandchildren may be affected by this disorder. That's your checklist. It's 14 minutes, and we're going to do the rest tomorrow. So, not traveling 3/4 of the world. If you're a world traveler type, that's going to upset you. Side effects. I would not get upset about side effects because I've said how many medications there are. And you have to keep your psychiatrist or your counselor informed. And you probably would get over side effects the longer you're on the medication. So one thing is you have to give the medication a chance. If you never get over side effects, that would be the time that a psychiatrist could prescribe something else or 2 something else's for 1. Either way, they could come up with what looks stable for your life, those periods of natural stability, helping the ups and the downs, and genetics. Maybe it didn't come from an abundance of genetics in you. But if you have it, I'm trying to say this the way I've researched it. Say you have 4 children, and this isn't correctly mathematical, but to give you an idea. If you have 4 children, 25% of your offspring could have some kind of mental illness. So that means if you have 4 kids, 1 could have a disorder. It also doesn't mean all 4 couldn't have a disorder. It also doesn't mean nobody could have a disorder. Just on the stats. I'm going just with the stats that I know. 1/4 of your offspring could have a mental disorder. It doesn't even have to be bipolar disorder. It can be major depressive disorder. It can be anxiety disorder. It doesn't have to be the exact type that you have. But there's a likelihood that your genetics and or the genetics of your partner are going to affect offspring. I know, I'll have to look it up or ask my children. My middle daughter and her husband both had a gene for some horrible physical illness. And before they got married, they either talked about it or tested them for it. I'd have to ask them. And I know they had 2 children and neither of them have it. So, great. But, it's not just mental illness, and there's certain genetic things your mother are more likely to give you, and there's certain genetic things your father is more likely to give you. It's a lot of fun to research as long as you don't get upset about the results, because maybe some things won't happen until later in your life, but once you're aware of them, you might feel bad. Okay. Have a happy Tuesday night, and I will see you on Hump Day, Wednesday tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.